Get all your... Oh, it's too late. We're live. Don't sniff. Hold it in. I don't see any bits coming in yet, though. Oh, there are the bits. So you start off going Lou full. I think maybe.
What?
And we're live. We're starting off. We're going full Lewis. Full Lewis Wallace. I know I always warn people not to do it. Not usually a good idea. But look how rosy his cheeks look today, Lewis. You're looking great.
It's not good for the ratings, guaranteed.
Actually, that's probably not a bad point. Probably not good to do it with the opening scene here. All right, everyone. Let's wait for everyone to pour in, but while we do that, let's get this tweet going here, Lewis. You want some tweet action here? You want this tweet action here,
Waiting
Griffin?
For the tweet.
Oh, yeah.
All
Give
right.
it to me.
You want me to put it in the notes?
Drop it. Yeah.
Drop it like it's lukewarm.
Show
there
notes.
You go. There you go. Oh, wait, that's not it.
No.
What the hell is that? Oh, send now. There we go. Oh, my goodness. We already have people here watching, and we're sitting here making the sausage. How embarrassing. There you go. Oh, that's terrible. It just didn't work at all.
No, you have the URL in the middle of that.
Let me do it this way. Let's try this.
Man, we only had a precious hour and a half to prepare for this.
There you go. Oh, we're already losing people. All right, well let's give a shout out to Mark T. He says, "Let's go, David Lynch, nice and early." Yeah. What a wise guy we got going over here. If we had a moderator in here, you'd be getting the size 13 right in your keister. We got Fieldy. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, fine sir. I think we're ready to roll. So, if you guys are good, you got your recordings going, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what we need to do?
Oh, yeah.
We need to broadcast this show live on Twitter. I think that needs to be our next move. And if we want to add like another 5 to 10 listeners, we could do it on Mastodon too.
I don't think they have a live broadcasting feature.
They haven't built that yet? Well, I'm sure any year now that will be added.
Every time I go on Mastodon, I just find myself going, what am I doing here? What am I supposed to, what? Huh? What?
It's actually kind of nice. It's peaceful.
Is it?
You know? It's like meditating.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Meditative. Yeah.
It's like going on a hike in the woods. Every
After
once
the
in a while you
bomb
pass
drops.
somebody. Oh, man.
Even the birds have stopped tweeting.
Yes, you're so
On the
confused when
fly.
you go in there because it's not full of angry people.
Well,
You mean fun and exciting people with
that's
opinions.
half the fun. It's not like walking down the street and just getting randomly punched in the face by somebody. We got RDV who says, yo. We got Dan Lewitt who says, let's go. LK. Can we get the mods in here?
Oh, there it is. It
Can we
worked.
get the mods in here? Boot this guy out of here, this Dan DeWitt guy.
This is
Put the size
Man.
13 right in his keister. Yeah.
this tweet is extra large.
Yeah. Well, that's how I make them, Lewis. All right. Well, I don't even know what that means. I'm verbose. That's what it means. Very verbose. Let's get this thing rolling. Let me call out my friend, one of Lewis Wallace's dear friends, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Very excited today. Oh, I heard your comments about doing it large. Oh, yeah? Oh, yes, and I did it large with El Caney last night.
Week after week after week.
Twice. Oh, goodness gracious. We don't need to hear that, Mrs. D. If you don't mind, Mrs. D, let's go ahead and get this show rolling. We got all sorts of Apple stories to talk about today. I don't even know if we're going to make it through all this stuff. So, stop grossing me out. Let's get ready to go here. In 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airphone Lash. Join me today. CultMac writers call his constant attacks, verbal lashings, and sprays with fire hose a form of assault. But he likes to think of it as mentoring. He's the managing editor of CultMac, Lewis Wallace here.
I like that.
Look how peachy he looks today. It's so nice. Also with us, he's hired several stunt doubles to roam his rural Ohio property to prepare for the inevitable day when Lewis Wallace comes looking, wanting to discuss grammar errors with him. He's Cultamac's newest writer, Griffin Jones, is here.
Good evening.
You're gonna have to buy multiple blow dryers, so you can all. I guess you could share that one.
Oh yeah, all of my stunt doubles, they have to learn the technique right from the source. It's part of the onboarding process. They get a full day training session where they learn how to get the perfect pompadour.
Wow, full day. Well, I think it's smart because when Lewis is enraged, when he sees a spelling error, his eyesight gets all blurry. He's like an angry bull.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have some guys that look even remotely like you, he's gonna lock onto them, and and he'll be the one attacking them, and you'll probably
And anybody with a long black sleeve button down shirt is in danger when that happens.
just any white guy with a black sleeve shirt on and brown hair is gonna get
Imminent
attacked
danger.
by Lewis Wallace. All right, everyone, let's see here. What do we have going on? Oh yeah, we got lots of stuff. So right off the bat, we have all sorts of new news on Apple upcoming hardware, including a massive 30-inch iMac in the works, which is something we've all been wanting, I think, for a long time. Let's see here. We got some details on the next Apple Watch Ultra, Apple Watch Series 9. We've got OLED iPads. I mean, all sorts of stuff in here. We'll take a look at a really big leak this week, Lewis. He hasn't been able to stop talking about this leak. I mean, all day he's been bugging me about the leak, the iPhone 15 Pro Max leak that we saw, which outlines everything, Lewis. Everything.
God.
And we've got some more EU laws coming down the pipe, man. I have to say, some of these I'm starting to enjoy. And they might be forcing Apple to make some changes to iCloud, which I personally would like to see actually happen, because I've been having nothing but heartache from Apple and iCloud and all my photos being stored there. And then we're going to wrap up the show with an all-new under review. I mean, what we're into. I knew I was going to do that. An all-new what we're into, where we talk about our favorite non-tech stuff that we're into. Shows, movies, what have you. I think we got some shows to pitch. And maybe a car. We'll see. Before we dive in, it's going to be like a little moped or something. Before we dive in, I want to thank all of you for continuing to support CultCloth.co. It's been 8 years, over 8 years now since I launched Cult Cloth, which is a premium cleaning experience. It's a whole experience. It's not just a cloth. It's transcended cloth. It's an experience. And nothing works better on your iPhone, your iPads, your glasses, your lenses, your cameras. The fibers that go into Cult Cloth go through this special process which breaks down the surface area and creates a bunch of cracks in them, which drastically enhances its ability to clean. So when you wipe it over your device, I mean, you'll be amazed. Every time I use them, I'm still surprised at how well they work. You can actually feel them at work. If you rub the Cult Cloth Duo over your fingertips, you will literally feel it grabbing onto your fingertips. And it's probably making your fingertips cleaner than they've ever been, to be honest with you. But you can literally feel them grabbing on to your tips. And just imagine that cleaning power in action on your iPhone. My iPhone is sparkling clean. I didn't even know Lewis had blue eyes until he started using the Cult Cloth. I thought he was brown like me. And then he used the Cult Cloth, and all of a sudden I was like, this is a true story. Have you always had blue eyes, Lewis? And he did, but his glasses were so grimy, so slimy, that you could literally not even see through them. So if you would like to support the show, help me out, get yourself the best way to clean your gadgets, devices, lenses, cameras, head to cultcloth.co, cultcloth.co. And if you have an order that's $20 or more, you can use code CultCloth at checkout. You'll get 2 carry cloths for free with your order at cultcloth.co. Use code CultCast at checkout. And thank you to everyone who has already made purchases, the thousands and thousands of you who have already made purchases. I really appreciate it. Okay, should we dive right in? Send it over to the Grifster to talk about all the new Apple hardware that is reportedly coming out. Take it away, Griffin.
This comes from, to everybody's surprise, Mark Gurman, who in his newsletter on Sunday basically
must be back
outlined.
from vacation.
Oh yeah, it's post WWDC trip to Tahiti.
I would love to see Mark Gurman in Tahiti. That would actually be highly enjoyable for me to see those vacation photos. Sorry, go ahead. Grass skirt.
Anyways, he basically outlines pretty much everything that Apple's going to be announcing over the next 18 months. So we all know the iPhone is coming in the fall. Vision Pro is coming early next year. Boring. He's talking about revamped iPad Pros with OLED displays, new Macs powered by the M3, and nobody was sure if this is going to happen or not, whether Apple is going to upgrade the Apple Watch Ultra after just 1 year. Supposedly it is. That new Apple Watch Ultra is coming alongside, I know everybody is just bursting at the seams with excitement, the Apple Watch Series 9, which we wouldn't really know anything about this. Supposedly this is going to be the year where they have new chips inside the Apple Watches. What they'll do, whether they'll have any new hardware features or anything, pretty much nothing at this time. It'll be the same but faster.
Name.
That's true. That's easily worth an upgrade. I don't know how long Apple's going to keep upgrading the Apple Watch every year. I feel like they don't have to. But
wait a second. With when did the Ultra come out?
Just last
year.
And oh man. I mean, I'm happy that they're gonna be introducing a new one, but I wasn't expecting it to happen so fast. And it's tough for me to hear that it's coming out at the same time as the iPhone, because I love my Ultra, and presuming they make moderate or better changes to it, I might have to pick up another one.
I really don't know. He doesn't say anything about what's coming, so
yeah, he just says that it's coming. But I'm surprised that it's being replaced so soon. It will probably be really small changes, to be honest, like they do with the Apple Watch every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Anyways, Apple is also supposedly in the early stages of developing an iMac with a display that measures more than 30 inches. It's in the initial stages of development. This will supposedly launch alongside the 24-inch iMac with updated internals. He doesn't name drop specifically whether it's going to be the M2 or M3, but I have to assume that it's going to be the M3. There were rumors before that they were skipping the M2 generation and just, waiting for M3. I have to assume that's going to be the case. Supposedly there are new M3 MacBook Air and MacBook Pros coming, but they're unlikely to launch this year, he says. Those will probably be spring releases, so I have to assume that a new iMac, that'd be a great thing to release in the fall. Last year where they didn't announce any new Macs for the winter quarter, like that was the exception that proved the rule, that every year they have something come out at that time. So it could be an iMac that we see at that time of year. Several other products in the Apple pipeline could launch by early 2024. A refreshed iPad Pro lineup with OLED displays could bring the new design that I think we were all hoping for the last time around they updated the iPad Pro, where they just sort of bumped it from M1 to M2. Codenamed J717 and J720. The tablets should debut with the M3 chip next year. The company is also preparing a new iPad Air to replace the existing M1 model. I'm looking forward to that one as well. My wife is vaguely interested in an iPad Air, and I feel like the iPad hasn't been in a good spot these past few years, as they're sort of transitioning to I don't know, they haven't updated the iPads in a really great way in a while.
OLED would be a killer upgrade too. I mean, it would basically make it
mm-hmm.
the ultimate media machine.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic range on it would be, insane. And maybe we would get QD OLED, which is the higher quality. I doubt it, but you can hope.
Maybe on the iPad Pro, but I'm not counting on that.
Yeah, I'm not even on the iPad Pro. It seems like a small distinction that if you're really into display tech, QD OLED actually makes a massive difference. Like when you see them side by side, at least to me, I can see the difference. My wife can't see the difference between 1080p and 4K, so some people can't see it. But most people, I think, probably wouldn't even notice the distinction. But the difference between regular OLED and QD OLED, I think, is pretty massive. It's the best picture that I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks absolutely insane, absolutely incredible, lifelike, vibrant, sharp. So I would love to see that come to the iPad Pro. I'm wondering if that 30-inch... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Griffin.
It sounds like Mark knows a lot about what's on the docket, but it doesn't sound like he's really committing to pinning down, yes, this will release this fall. He's saying, just vaguely, this is in the works. This is happening.
Lewis loves when we report on things that Gurman thinks is going to happen.
Well, I also love the It's like, wow, they've got an iPhone coming this year. And not only that, but they're working on new iPads and Macs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little more interesting because he has, the code numbers, right? I mean, that always makes it seem a little more serious. But, I mean, are any of you shocked that Apple's working on new iPads? I mean, to me, the most exciting thing is that they're going to come up with another Apple Watch Ultra this year. I mean, I thought for sure I was going to have to wait like another year or so because I never got one. Right? I've been looking at it ever since, and I've been going, geez, why didn't I?
You've been
buy
envious
one
this whole time.
But I can't buy one mid-cycle, right? Especially if it's going to be. And I've been thinking about it, but man, if they come out with one of those this year, I think I'm going to have to go. For it.
They go on sale a lot now too. I regularly see them for $5.99 maybe. They're $7.99, right? Yeah, they're $7.99 full price. I've seen them for $6.99 pretty often. I've seen them dip as low as $5.99, although that doesn't happen very often.
I've never seen that.
Lewis, would you buy the new Apple Watch Ultra even if it's virtually the same as the one they released last year?
I'd be very tempted to because, like I said, I wanted one anyway. But and I mean, to be honest, my Apple Watch 4, which is perfectly fine performance-wise, but the battery's starting to give out on it. It doesn't last as long.
You have 4? You're using a 4?
I got a 4 and a 6.
Okay,
which is the same as 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, honestly, like there's not that much difference in the last couple of years. The 6 to me seems completely fine. I love it. I got no problems with it, and I can't. Like I was talking to a friend the other day. He's like, "Oh, I think about upgrading from a 4." I'm like, "Yeah, you definitely should get like at least an Apple Watch 6." But 6, 7, 8, all kind of the same.
I will say, WatchOS 10 is pretty brutal for your watch battery. If you feel like your watch is doing, if it's suitable, but it's just kind of old, I would almost plan on upgrading to a new watch this year because WatchOS 10 is brutal. Like I used to be able to get all day and through like most of the night and still wake up with like 12 to 15% charge, but now I have to charge it every night when I go to bed. And I don't even have the always on display turned on. I have that turned off.
That must just because it's a beta, though. I mean, it can't be that it's going to be that way in reality.
They did make some big changes to the operating system this year, like running the widgets and the new apps.
It's probably going to tank the battery life on my Ultra. That's one of the best features, to be honest. I mean, I only charge my Ultra every couple of days, and it's so nice not having to worry about charging it every single night and to be able to take it on like a trip and not have to charge it, every 18 hours. But also, it's one of the most beautiful Apple devices I've ever purchased. It's got to be in my top 5 Apple devices that I've owned. Like I love the way it looks, I love the way it works, and the look of it is just so much better than the original. Like the aesthetic that it has now is so much better than the original Apple Watch. I'm not going to go into this again. I've talked about this 100 times. It looks more chunky, more utilitarian, and I just think it's a better looking watch in general on your wrist. And you could dress it up. Like I usually use it with the I'm forgetting the Alpine Loop, right? So that cloth strap, which is an absolutely outstanding strap. But I also pair it with a leather link, and it looks great with a leather link. Like it looks like a much dressier, a more fancy watch, and you can use it with dress clothes and stuff, so you can really dress it up and dress it down. I love it, man. But my question is, like, what are they going to do for the next one? Like, what can they do? They're making such incremental changes to Apple Watch year over year. I'm kind of just scratching my head. I'm like, what are they going to do to make this better than the last Apple Watch and better than the other Apple Watches, the regular Apple Watches? That's what I'm really curious to see. Like, what kind of sensors could they add in there? It's going to be some software feature or something. Oh,
my question is
slightly faster chip.
My question is, what are they going to call it? Are they going to call it are they going to have in parallel the Apple Watch Ultra Series 2 and the Apple Watch Series 9 or Series 10? Like it's going to be impossible to get these numbers straight. Running WatchOS 10 alongside the iPhone 15, running iOS 17.
I can barely keep it straight
14.
now. Oh yeah, I can barely
just
keep
hit
it straight.
reset. Have the OS version match the version of the phone or device that came out that year. It'd be so much easier.
That would make it easier to remember, yeah, because remembering the device number and then the software number is a different number is mind-boggling. It's hard to keep track. So, let's see, T4 Runner from the chat saying the technology in the band. Yeah, that's true. Like the Alpine Loop, I saw this video a while back about how it's sewn together, and like all the loops and everything on here are all, I think, one consistent piece of nylon. I don't know what they use in this, and it's like slightly stretchy. So, because you would think that having the loop go into these little holes would eventually wear out the stitching, but there is no stitching. It's like carving sculpture out of marble. Like this whole thing is like carved out, is like one solid piece. It's not stitched together in any way, which is, it makes me feel better about, the fact that it costs $100, which I think is kind of crazy. But and this strap is one of the best straps I've ever used with any Apple Watch. I'm also really excited about the 30-inch iMac. I kind of wonder if it's going to be an iMac Pro. I kind of doubt it. It will probably just be a larger screen iMac, but that would be a prime candidate for putting like a M3 Pro or something. I bet you it will have the option of having maybe not the M3 Max or something in there, but what am I saying? Like, why wouldn't they have the M3 Max in there? If they make a large screen iMac, that would be like the prime candidate to put like the higher end chips in there, and then leave like the lower end chips for like the 24-inch or something. But
I mean, you're gonna have a lot of thermal room in there. I would expect they would price it equivalently to the Mac Mini, where you can get it with the M chip or the M Pro chip. I don't think they would go higher than that.
Well, they used to go higher than that. Like, they used to have really powerful iMacs, and they would put top-end Intel chips in them. So this last generation of iMac has been a diversion from that, where they basically make it into a larger MacBook Air. And, I mean, that's fine if you're just doing general computing, but I don't see why Apple would not put the higher-end chips in there and just they're going to charge you. TC's going to charge you a lot more for that. But why wouldn't they do that and make that chip exclusive to like the more expensive price tag with the huge screen or something? I think the whole thing's lame. Yeah, go ahead.
I think they consider the spiritual successor to that, like the Pro level all-in-one desktop, to be the studio display paired with whatever Pro desktop computer you want, Mac Studio or Mac Mini.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that said before too. That makes sense to me as well, but I don't know. Apple changes their mind all the time on stuff. Like, they're not consistent on things like this. So for that reason, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did end up releasing an iMac and did give you the option. I suppose that might cannibalize sales of the Mac Studio. I guess that's probably true. For that reason, maybe they wouldn't do it, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they just did it anyway. There's so much overlap now between their different models of computer, and I mean, they put like the M1, the M2 into all these different formats. It's like now you basically just pick your form factor, and the chip is the same no matter what device you get, But all right,
like the iMac is thinner than the MacBook Pro, isn't it? So I don't think they would go any higher than the M3 Pro. I don't think they would put in the Max.
I mean, maybe, but if they made the screen a lot larger, they'd have a lot more real estate. So maybe they wouldn't be as thermally constrained as they are. I mean, I have no idea. I think it would be cool if they released an iMac with everything built in, and you get like the M3 Max or something. But your point is taken. Like, I do think it might make sense that they don't want to cannibalize their Mac Studio, but I also think it makes sense that Apple's not consistent and they'll just do whatever they want just to make some more money. All right, so is there anything else that we missed from this story? I think that we got all the potential hardware coming out of this. So get ready, because iPhone 15, it's coming up. It's definitely in the pipe, and we're definitely going to get iPhone 15 at some point in the future, according to Gurman. All right, next story.
Shocking news.
Speaking of iPhone 15, Lewis, look at this segue. Do you want to show us like this big leak that we had this week? This big, massive leak that basically gives it all away?
The most amazing leak. Yeah, so a leaked video came out this week. It purports to show cases for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And they apparently confirm a few of the previously rumored changes coming this year. It's some cases somebody made based on some rumors. Anyway, this video was posted by a tipster known as, I don't know how to pronounce it, Majin Buu.
Should we play it?
Majin Buu.
There it is.
And this.
Oh my goodness! Look at that camera. Oh my goodness! Look at that camera bump. That is massive.
Is it more? How much more massive is it? Slightly more massive than the already massive camera bump.
I mean, look at that thing, Lewis. It looks like a giant tumor hanging off of that case.
It's big enough that I thought that was just the 15 Pro. I didn't realize that was the 15 Max.
It's the 15 Pro Max. Oh yeah. So it has a giant. For those of you listening, sorry. So we're looking at this. What is it, like a phone mock-up, and it has a giant hole in the bottom, which looks like it's going to accommodate USB-C. And then they flip the case over. It's not a case. I guess it's like a model, and there is a unbelievably huge camera hump on the back of this thing. Like it sticks out like more than a quarter of an inch, I would say.
I guess it is slightly bigger lip, but I don't know.
Thing is ridiculous. Man, if they would only I've been doing a lot of camera testing recently, trying to find something that has really outstanding stabilization and really great low light performance. And once you're looking for both those things, you basically only have one or two options. And the iPhone camera stabilization is some of the best image stabilization that exists in video. Like, it's really unbelievable. Like, I'm testing out a Sony ZV-E1 full frame camera. They added a new active dynamic stabilization. They added dynamic active stabilization to the camera, which is like supposed to be their absolute best stabilization, and it is nowhere near as good as the iPhone is. Like, the iPhone is heads and tails better, and the GoPro also does stabilization really well too. Like, you could basically run with these cameras, and it looks like you're on a gimbal. Like, it looks like movie grade stabilization. You can't even tell that the person is moving erratically because the image is so steady. But the iPhone, even though it does as good as an iPhone or as a phone can do in low light, it is nowhere near as good as like some of these full frame cameras that are out there. If they could just dial in the low light capability and make it like 70% as good as like some of the Sony cameras out there, you would have like the best camera that exists. Like, at that point, there would just be no reason to even buy a camera for most people, because you could use the camera in virtually all situations. I know I'm going on a tangent here because I'm using this camera and I'm like, this is unreal. Like, this Sony camera that I'm testing is an expensive camera, and it does some things really well. Like, it could practically see in pitch black and still create like a beautiful image. And it's like the only camera that I've seen that can do it. But its stabilization, it's a $2,000 camera, and its stabilization is not as good as an iPhone, which I just find to be bonkers. So I'm completely off the rails here. What were we talking about? The iPhone 15?
Let's see. You talked about the camera hump, which is apparently even bigger. So it also has this case leak also has openings on the left and right edges that could accommodate solid state capacitive mute and volume buttons, which have been rumored, but although
Did you say mutant?
Mute and volume. I like mute.
Capacitive
mute
and volume buttons. I was like, yeah, they are an abomination, aren't they? I agree with you.
The latest rumors make it sound like those aren't going to happen, and I mean, this case could work. I mean, lots of cases have cutouts like that, so.
Oh, great. Max
sure,
Tech
he's
is
still
saying
on
that
that,
the
right?
next iPhone will be... Sorry, Lewis, I'm just all over the place. I'm just reading the chat. Max Tech mentioned that the next iPhone will be 5 nanometers and not 3. I don't know if I believe that, but that would be a kick
chip?
in the... Yeah. So they're basically not going to move to the next fabrication process to save money.
5, not 3? Is that what?
That's what Max Tech was saying, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, 3 nanometers is such a new process. Like, it could be that they don't have the manufacturing capacity to build it into the iPhone. The iPhone is the thing that they have to sell tens and tens of millions of every year. And there were already rumors that they were like buying out all of TSMC's manufacturing capacity just to bring it to the Mac.
Maybe.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get it this year. And regarding like the case with like the conflicting rumors of whether we'll get the capacitive buttons or not, like this case has open holes on the side. We don't know whether that means it's meant to accommodate the capacitive buttons or if it's just a case that's like that. I guess we won't really know until we have a case that has like, you know, metal buttons on the side that are like clearly meant to be like pass-through buttons. Then that would sort of indirectly confirm that that's going to be a thing. Another weird thing about this case that I noticed is that, yeah, it has like the larger charging hole on the bottom of it to accommodate for USB-C, but USB-C isn't like that much bigger
know,
than
I was thinking
Lightning.
that
If you look
same
at the hole
thing.
on the case,
It's massive.
it's like this gigantic opening that's almost the entire width of it. Like,
That's huge. I was thinking that same thing. I was like, why is that? I mean, USB-C is the same cable size as Lightning.
I think
So-
what we're learning is that this is a bad case and you shouldn't buy it.
Who is this
I mean-
guy? Imagine Boo. Who is this guy? Is this guy even accurate?
I mean, I'm sure that somebody made this case, guessing that this might be what a iPhone 15 Pro Max looks like. It's fine, whatever. I mean, people do this all the time, right? They crank these out so that they can have them ready. I mean, this could just be like their first proof of concept. Like this is what we kind of want it to look like, which looks like a million other iPhone cases. Which, I mean, who knows? It looks like it would probably even fit iPhone 14 Pro. I can't really tell how much bigger the hump is. I mean, the camera hump.
looks
I guess it
enormous.
is slightly bigger. I mean, come on, when are we gonna get that flush design that Prosser was talking about 2-3 years ago?
No,
That's what I want. Just give
It
it
looks
to
like
me.
it's only getting.
Make it.
Not only is it not getting smaller, it's getting bigger.
The thing's getting ridiculous already. It's already like you set it on the table and it's like it's weird and wobbly.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
You can't use it with half the chargers. You have to make sure it's sitting exact. If you're not using a MagSafe charger now, which takes care of the problem. If you're not using that, then you have to be like super careful. You actually get it in contact because it's the hump is just out of control.
The hump is out of control. You heard it here first, folks. The hump is out of control. So I'm sorry, this is a case. I thought this was like an iPhone model or something because the back of the hump has plastic over it. So that was throwing me off. I was like, why is there plastic on this? What is this thing? It looks like it looks like an iPhone mock-up or like a model or something, but I guess they have to cut that plastic piece out or something, which looks like they have to do it by hand. Holy moly.
I'm sure they're just practicing.
Yeah, practicing for what?
Yeah, I mean, well,
Case
that's what
practice.
you do. You produce something, you see how it looks, you see how it feels, and then it's a prototype.
Prototyping. I just never heard anyone say practice. Manufacturing practice. Although I guess you probably do have to like practice making stuff. It's probably true.
I mean, it's probably not the word that they use on the line.
On the line, yeah. Time to
On the
practice,
line.
everyone. All right, there you go. So, if you're wondering what the iPhone 15 Pro Max is going to look like, just look at that clownish camera hump on the back. I'm sorry. Look, hold on a sec. Did you see that view? Look at that right there. Can you guys see that? That is sticking out like 3 inches. Look at that. That is a solid 1/4 inch right there. 1/4 of an inch right there. That is enormous.
I think one thing I forgot to mention, you asked where did this leak come from. It comes from Majin Buu, who was the first person to reveal that the Stage Manager interface for the iPad was coming. And that was about 3 months before Apple's announcement. So,
Okay, so got
I
some
mean,
cred.
but then again, okay, well, that person's connected somehow with something, right? I mean, case manufacturer, different thing. But, I mean, I doubt this is Apple's case.
Mark Evans from the chat, do you really want to be carrying around a lightning cable now that Mac and iPad have USB-C? No, of course not. I mean, that's the dream, right? Now, if only they could add a USB-C to the Apple Watch, then I could be a one-cable man.
And the HomePod.
Well, God, yeah, I would kill for I would take any port on the HomePod, literally anything. It could be-
Micro USB. Give me something.
It could be USB-B. Isn't that the port on the back, like the printer? Like those weird USBs. It could be that. For all I care, I would just want anything. Just give me a port anywhere.
The Lazarus port.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what they could call it. That reminds me, I need to plug my HomePod back in and see if I can resurrect that thing.
Do it on the air.
I've been leaving it uncharged. I can't, unfortunately. I don't have a plug nearby, but maybe I should do it live on the air. Although that probably wouldn't be very interesting to hear. It's like it takes like 3 minutes for me to do. All right. Let's see. What's next? Oh, yeah. All right. Let's just mention this story real quick, and then we can get into what we're into. But here we got more regulations coming down the pipe from the EU. And I as with many other EU regulations, I'm of two minds. I mean, part of me is like, I'm like, yeah, stick it to the man. And then part of me is like, dude, we don't need a bunch of bureaucrats telling these companies how to operate. But I have been trying to get my photos off of iCloud, and Apple actually does make it, they make the process simple, but it's not easy. And I'll tell you why in just a sec, but let me read the story here. So EU countries lawmakers reach data rule deal targeting big tech. Let me see if I can find this story. Go to it. There we go. Let me read from my notes, actually. Otherwise, you're going to have to read through all this. The European Commission proposed the Data Act last year to cover data generated in smart gadgets, machinery, and consumer electronics. Part of the legislation aimed at curbing the power of U.S. Tech giants. The legislation gives both individuals and businesses more control over their data generated through smart objects, devices, etc., allowing them to copy or transfer easily from or to transfer data easily across different services. So that was the key thing that I latched onto. Because with Apple right now, they give you the option if you want to move your data. In fact, many of you may not know this. Like, you can go in and see all the data that you have in iCloud and download it. You can even move some of it to other services. And with your iCloud photos, Apple actually gives you the option to move it to Google if you want. But Google has the same problem as Apple. I think they top out at 2 terabytes, and they're the exact same price. And this is a major problem, man. Like, I can't be alone on this. Like, Apple keeps building these phones that record better and better 4K. I'm not going to talk about why it's a scam, but let's just say you record a lot of 4K video. It builds up in your iCloud photo account or your iCloud account, and at a certain point, you just run out of space. And like, what are you supposed to do at that point? Just delete all your old stuff? Like, who wants to do that? And there's not a lot of really great competition. And even if there were, there's no easy way to move your data to that competing service, which I think needs to exist. And so I thought this was an interesting development because it would allow you, if this law, I'm not sure it actually went into effect. I think it might have, but it would allow you to more easily move your data to another service, because right now it's not easy. So you basically have to submit a data request to Apple, and then Apple takes a week or so to make the data available to you, and they send you an email when it's ready. And then you have to go in there and download in zip files all of your data. I've done the data request like 5 times now because these files are big, they're hard to download, and I keep running out of time to download all of them. So it's not an easy process. Like, I kind of wish there was just like one button that you pressed and then Apple just kept like downloading the files for you or something. Or you could download like a single like 2 terabyte file. Maybe that's not possible for some technical reason. I don't know. But I'm trying to get all my photos off of iCloud, and it's not easy to do. I've also been trying to figure out like what service I can use to replace, the Photos app. And the Photos app has become damn good. Like, it's just, especially once they added like the family sharing features, so that I think before that feature you could have replaced it and maybe been just as happy. But with that specific feature, now that you can automatically share photos with the people on your family plan just by being in proximity with their phones when you take the pictures, that's a pretty killer feature. And it makes it really easy to share photos with other people in your family. But just to add insult to injury here,
Wait, before you move on, I have a question.
Sure, go for it.
Do you not already have a local backup of all your photo library on a computer?
So I do. But I don't trust it because I've had issues where Apple has given me data before and the data wasn't the same high resolution version that I uploaded. And it seems like for whatever reason, that high resolution version that I stored on Apple was not being synced to my local machine, because you can keep all full resolution copies, right, on your machine. But I've had instances where that full resolution copy that they gave me was clearly like a version that they created and not the actual file that I gave them. So that's why I wanted to download everything from Apple and have them create the actual files for me, because I was hoping that would give me like the original files back. But yes, I agree. Like, you should always keep a full version on a local machine, because stuff does get screwed up in iCloud. I've had it happen before with photos, with videos. Insult to injury, right? I was trying to figure out where I was going with this. So you're using iCloud photos. They haven't increased the space. I don't think ever have they. I don't think they've ever actually increased the amount of space that's available to you. But what they are doing is increasing prices, so you're not going to get any more storage. But now, if you're in a number of countries, your prices are actually going to go up. So United Kingdom, Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, Middle East, South America, Apple is going to be raising the price of your iCloud storage and still not giving you enough storage to potentially keep all the photos and videos that you've taken with your iPhone. So just a slap right in your face, or a punch right in your kibble and bits, however you want to take that. It's already increased prices across a broad array of countries: Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Poland, Turkey, Peru, South Africa. I mean, just all over the place. Although, funny enough, pricing in the U.S., Canada, and the EU has remained the same. So our prices have not gone up, which seems to be the case with price increases oftentimes. But so the price increases won't be drastic. Like if you're looking at UK prices, your price for the 50 gigabyte plan goes up 20 cents, 20 pence? What do they call that? 20 pence? If only we had LK here. If only we had LK here to tell us. It's going up a tuppence.
Figure out all that crazy UK currency.
So if you're on the 200 gigabyte plan, your price is going up 50 cents, and on the 2 terabyte. This is my favorite part also. Man, I'm sorry. I should just stop talking about this, but this is also my favorite part. It's like it goes from 50 gigabytes to 200 gigabytes, which, is a reasonable increase in space. And then for 200, it goes to 2 terabytes. So you're paying for 2 terabytes all the way from 200 gigabytes. You're paying for the absolute biggest amount from 200 gigabytes all the way to 2 terabytes. There's no storage in between, like 1 terabyte or anything that would be a little bit cheaper. No. You got to pay for the full 2 terabytes if you got more than 200 gigabytes. I'm telling you guys, it's such a scam. This whole iCloud photo storage thing is such a scam. It's just unbelievable. Like the more you look into it, the more of a scam it looks like. Anyway, even though it actually is a great service, but the storage thing is out of control. Yes, Griffin.
Soon you'll have the recipe lookout.
The leap between the tiers is that big because I think when it originally launched, there was the 5 gigabyte free tier. Then the paid tiers were 25 gigabytes, 50 gigabytes, and 1 tera. Or no. I think it was 25 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes, and 1 terabyte. And then at some point, like 5 years ago, they doubled it to 5 gigabytes free, then 50, 200, 2 terabytes.
Okay, so they have doubled it at one point.
They doubled it at one point for the
iCloud
paid
storage.
tiers, but 5 gigabytes is still free.
Let's see if I can pull this up. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would ring the alarm bells about adjusting the prices internationally. They're probably just doing that for like foreign currency exchange rates. They do that a lot with a lot of their various services. But I agree, it would be nice if they, because you're definitely not alone. There are a lot of people who are running out of 2 terabytes of space. There are even people who are running out of the 4 terabytes of space that you can only unlock if you pay for both iCloud space and on top of an Apple One subscription. And they're like, well, there are people with that problem who would be happy to give Apple more money for like 10 terabytes, but Apple doesn't allow them.
Yeah, I don't know.
You should be able to stack those subscriptions, in my opinion.
I don't know if they're... what I don't understand, without being a pessimist, is why they can't just say, okay, well, 2 terabytes is $10, 4 terabytes is $20, 6 terabytes is $30. Like, why can't the cost stay the same as the amount of storage goes up? And instead they say, oh, well, if you want more space, now you have to buy Apple One and give us $35 a month for the same level of space. And then you can also add on the $10 a month for 2 terabytes. And then that's as high as they go. Like, for some reason, a lot of these companies do not go higher than 2 terabytes, which I think is really odd, because a lot of us have really huge libraries. And, you take a 4K iPhone video, like, you can eat up 2 gigabytes easy. So I just think it's really odd that there's not some service. Like, is storage so expensive that it's not financially feasible for them to offer you more storage? But that doesn't make sense either, because I'm like, if they can make money off you with 2 terabytes at $10 a month, then that should scale, right? Like, if they're making money off you, then it should scale infinitely. Like, you would think that they would offer you as much space as you wanted, but no one does that. Not even Google, as far as I'm aware, does that. So the whole thing is very weird. and we're all inching closer and closer to the max. Like every day we all get closer. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten there before a lot of you, but we're all going to end up in the same place. It's like death and taxes. We're all going to be there eventually. You know what I mean? So I just think it's really odd that there doesn't seem to be a game plan here. And if you run out of space, you're just SOL. So I've been looking at all sorts of solutions. I've been playing around a lot with Synology. Synology actually, so Synology RAID has a lot of like their own apps built into the NAS, not RAID. What am I saying? Synology NAS, network attached storage, and they have their own Photos app. And if you store stuff on your NAS, you can actually use their Photos app, and their icon actually is, I would say, very legally as close as you can get without just straight up copying Apple's Photos icon. And their app is actually pretty good. Like it works very well, and you can store all your stuff on your NAS and never have to worry about running out of space. And it has backup built in, obviously, because it's a NAS, and so that's one good solution. Mylio, one of our previous sponsors, I think that's a great solution, although they don't support video, which I think is something that a lot of people are going to want. So like if you want to watch a video, they kick you out into your OS's native video player to watch that video, which if you have a lot of video, that's obviously going to be a negative for you. So there are some solutions out there, but there's no big player that you can go to. And even if you could, like, how are you going to get your data there? So that's one of the reasons why I think this EU thing is interesting, because it's like you could just tell Apple just to give your data over to that service and then just be up and running. Like that'd be super useful. But for right now, there's nowhere to go anyway. I'm sorry, I just keep complaining about this. I've honestly been thinking I should write TC an email and be like, the iCloud storage thing. Like, I don't know if you don't have a project or a product manager there thinking about this, but this is a major problem. And I don't know if you're doing this on purpose to make money, which if you are, that's kind of gross. Like you need to fix this, but there's no path forward once you run out of space. You're just kind of SOL, and you keep selling these iPhones that take 4K video. Now you can't watch the 4K video anywhere, but it is being stored in iCloud. And what are you supposed to do when you run out of space? Like this is not the way this works is not typical of the way Apple works. Like you really need to fix this problem and just see what he says. I bet you
I think if their goal would be to make money, then they would allow you to give them more money for more space.
Yes, I mean that's my logic too. Like why not? Now look, I get that they want to push you into Apple One. Okay, I don't like that, but I get that. But the max amount of space you could buy is 4 terabytes. After that, you just literally can't do anything, which I just think is really odd. Sorry, I'm repeating myself, and I have no idea where we were.
Some kind of technical reason.
Maybe.
Why would everybody come across 2 terabytes and set it at that?
Yeah, I mean, Apple doesn't own their own data centers. I mean, they're using Microsoft and Amazon. So, but Google has the same thing. So, although Google has an interesting on their plan, if you're with T-Mobile, I think, if you have one of their top plans, you can actually pay them an additional fee, and they won't count photos and videos against you in your storage allotment. So you can have unlimited photos and videos, and the only thing that counts against using your storage is like documents and that type of thing. Isn't that weird? But it only works if you have a T-Mobile account and you're using Google Drive. So none of this makes sense.
Thinking about switching carriers then?
I don't know if that could convince me to go to T-Mobile, but I was like, well, that's one solution. But they also don't let you. I'm not going to get into all the details. It's not as shareable as Apple's plan. I mean, Apple makes it so easy to add people to your plan. So there's caveats with all this stuff, you know?
I think you need to start a petition.
We got to do something, man, because right now, like I said, we're all inching closer to the cliff, and there seems to be no game plan here. I mean, I keep thinking at some point that Apple is going to announce they're doubling their storage allotments, but even that wouldn't solve the problem. It just kicks it down the road, man. It's only going to get kicked, and at a certain point, we're all going to get to that next level. We got to wrap up here. Anyway, Lewis, you want to talk about the giveaway real fast before we jump into what we're into?
Yeah, this is a great new one. It just went live today. We're giving away 2 of these sort of desk organization bundles, which couldn't sound more boring, right? Desk organization bundle. But what you get what you get is a Desk Mat Pro with 2 Cable Block XL cable managers. These are from Function 101. So the Desk Mat Pro is a large, well, 31.1 by 15.75 inch mat that you sit on. It's a faux leather, premium beveled PU leather.
Dude, that looks nice.
Mat with a faux suede bottom. Yeah, it gives you a nice feel on your desktop, right? And what makes it pro? It's magnetic. There's a metal infused inner layer. So it's not magnetic. It's got a metal layer inside that allows it to connect to magnetic things like Apple Pencil, Apple Watch charger, or those Cable Block XL cable managers. And those are just like these kind of heavy magnetic blocks that sit there, and they have slots for you to put your cables in. So like if you, for instance, have a cable for your MacBook Pro and you want to take it somewhere, you can toss it in there, and it doesn't fall down behind your desk, which, I mean, let's be honest, that's a terrible nightmare.
Oh,
right?
I hate it when that happens.
I do hate it when it happens.
You gotta get on your hands and knees and go fishing for it.
God, there's so much dust back there. It's pathetic. It really like brings you down, makes you realize you're not living your best life. Let's see. So let's see what else you get with this. It's that's it. It's just those 3 things in this bundle. This bundle retails for $60. The things, if you look at it, it comes in multiple colors: black, gray, navy, and purple. And we actually have these on sale right now in the Cultimac store for $48 if you just don't feel lucky. If you do feel lucky, you should go to the homepage of cultimac.com, scroll down to the giveaway section, click on the thing that says giveaway. It's kind of easy to find. It says giveaway.
Found it. Look at
that. And then you'll see multiple ways to enter. Just like always, it's free to enter. You can enter early, enter often. This one's running for, I think, about a week or so. So got a little bit of time, but don't tarry. All these things go away eventually. And,
Not only
and
do
we
you have
always
time,
got to have a winner.
Not only do you have time, Lewis, but you also got a chance.
Always,
you got a chance of winning.
Always got a chance.
I always tell people never answer because they think that they can't win, but you got a chance. So I'll put this in the show notes. We got to jump into what we're into. I got to be walking these sweet buns out the door in 11 minutes. So we got to power through this quick. So I tell you what, let's go straight to Griffin to kick off this, what we're into. We haven't done this segment in forever. We need to do this more often. I actually really like this segment. Also, under review, we talk about all the gadgets that are that we've been using for like the last year that we haven't been talking about. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm sitting here telling us that we're running out of time, and yet I'm doing
blabbing.
Midwestern goodbye here. Griffin, take it away. What do you got?
Okay. I recently took a test drive of the Hyundai Ioniq 6. This is a brand new electric car that they just launched. It looks... Well, why don't you bring up the gallery?
I'm bringing it up right now.
From the back, it looks almost like a Porsche with like the sort of sloping back. From the front, it looks kind of like a normal car, which is a little disappointing to me. I wish it looked a little weirder from the front too. So, for context, right now I drive a 2010 Toyota Prius. I don't like it that much. But the thing is, I got such an obscenely good deal on it because I got it for like $2,000. Like, I can't justify possibly getting another car, nor could I like afford this right now anyways, nor is it a good market to buy a new car in. But I was driving through Athens, like this was a few weeks ago before I moved, and I saw this sitting on the corner of a dealership lot. I was like, ooh, I wonder if they'll just let me drive it. So I walked in. The dealership was like under construction, and like it was like the weirdest car dealership experience I've ever had, because I walk in and like nobody runs up to talk to me. Like I had to like go up to like one of their desks and be like, hey, can I drive that car?
They took one look at you and they're like, he's not buying nothing.
Like, oh yeah, sure. He gave me the key. He didn't really seem to care.
That guy's old enough to drive.
Yeah, maybe that was it. He's like, your parents here too?
I take it for a drive, like, and I almost feel bad because this is a car that has like 45 miles on it, and I have no intention of buying it. I'm just like driving it for funsies. But anyways, onto the car itself. Kia and Hyundai sort of had like a really crummy reputation around like 10 years ago. And like, it's a thing that every car journalist is saying. They're like, oh yeah, they're really turning around. They're really nice cars now. And like, I was like, yeah, sure. I'm like, how much better is it really? Like I get in there and this interior, I don't know if you have some of the pictures up, but that is nice. Like these are,
let me see. I'll pull up the interior. Go ahead.
Looks good.
like you see all this silver on the inside. That feels like real metal. Like it's all solid. When I get into a car interior, the first thing I want to do is like push on everything to see like how much wiggle and jiggle and creak it has. That is solid. Like I've been inside a few Teslas. They're kind of equivalent to like a nice Honda Civic in terms of quality.
Yep.
Like they photograph well, but they don't really look very good in person, or especially when you start like poking around it really. But man, I wasn't expecting them to be this blown away by the quality of this car. It's nice. It's zippy fast. It doesn't have wireless CarPlay, which
that's a bummer.
Is a
Come
bummer.
on.
Yep.
It's 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's got cool lighting effects inside though. I'm a fan of that.
Oh yeah. Maybe
I'm not even
maybe in a
joking.
few
I love
years.
lighting effects.
Maybe in about 5 years when my Prius has finally either kicked the bucket or I've just gotten too angry with it, I'll sell it and buy a CPO Honda Ioniq 6. I like weird cars. Like this picture behind me is one of my earlier cars, the original Honda Insight, which is just a real oddity. I love that car. It was kind of a piece of crap, but I liked it.
I remember seeing those things on the road all the time.
Those things were unique looking. Always felt like I was in a sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
This thing does look like the Porsche. I know what Porsche you're talking about, although I don't remember the name of it. What's the name of that Porsche?
911, 918, Carrera. They all
I thought it was an electric
they
car.
all have wildly different names and they all look exactly the same.
Yeah, this is interesting. You know, this reminds me a lot of so Kia's making a lot of cars that kind of look like this too. They look like future versions of cars from the 50s. Like they have like this really interesting design language that they use where it looks like an old car that's new, and I kind of like it. I like the back of this too. It does look a lot like the Porsche. It reminds me of what's the band that I'm thinking of? I remember their album. Their album.
Band?
Yeah. Random Access Memories is the name of the album. I'm
Daft
spacing out.
Punk.
Daft Punk. Thank you. It reminds me of like a Daft Punk album cover. It kind of looks like something they would have on there. Like, but was it fast? Was it a good driving experience here?
Yeah, it was
Griffin?
fast. I think I was driving.
You said zippy. I wasn't sure if zippy meant fast or it was like wee.
I mean,
like
I drive a
go-kart.
Prius, so like my go-to metric is like way off. Like I'm not tuned to what is actually fast or not. Everything
Yeah,
feels fast to
I
me.
gotcha.
Even my wife's CRV. But yeah, it was quick. I think I was driving the all-wheel drive model, and I think I would just get the rear-wheel drive model because I want the most range, even though I never leave the house.
Okay,
All
look.
electric, right?
Oh yeah.
Looks pretty nice for a coal-powered car.
Da-dunch. Okay, Lewis, we got 5 minutes left. Do we have the same pick? I think that we
I don't
do.
know.
What is
That
it?
wouldn't
What's your
surprise
pick?
me. You go first. I can't wait to hear.
Does it start with an S and end with a low? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
I do. As soon as you said it, I knew what it was. I was like, it's got to
I was
be
afraid
that.
this
And
was
we're
gonna
both talking about Apple TV shows. You take it away. I want to hear you talk about Silo on Apple TV because I have been absolutely engrossed in that show as well. And the first episode is now free. You don't even have to be a Apple TV Plus subscriber.
Right.
And
Watch it on Twitter.
You've been watching it on Twitter?
You can watch it on Twitter.
You're kidding? Apple released
They
it on
posted
Twitter?
the whole thing on Twitter.
Wow, that's wild. I
Weird.
mean, meanwhile, I've been trying to upload a video of me showing that my HomePod is working, and it just keeps
Can't be
erroring
done.
out. No, it can't be done. Sorry. So talk about Silo. I may not even say anything. I'll just let you do the talking.
So for anybody who doesn't know about it, Silo is it's like the latest hit on Apple TV Plus. I've been waiting to watch it. The season finale is actually this week.
Oh, it
The
is.
season 1 finale, yes. So I've been trying to catch up. The wife and I have been watching it. It's one of those shows that you watch with your wife because you both want to watch it, right? And then it becomes problematic syncing up your schedule so you have time. But
That's
so
why that's why I'm not finished with it.
we're about halfway.
I started
through
with
the
my
first
wife,
season.
and then she left town. I'm like, oh great. I guess I'll never
It's
finish
hard.
the show. Yeah.
It's very hard. So what Silo is about is it's about the last like 10,000 people living on Earth, right? And they live in this thing
It's a
like a
silo.
vertical tube called a silo, and basically, I don't know how many hundreds of stories it is, but it's a giant structure, and the people at the top are like, what do they call them, the up toppers or something? I mean, it cracks me up. They got all these social strata based on how high or up or down in the silo you live, and apparently, so I guess like every level they got these like lunchrooms or something. People sit around, they watch the video feed from the horrible outdoors, and anybody who I don't know how far we want to go with letting people know. I think this is not really a spoiler. Is it?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what you're gonna say.
I mean, the point is that outdoors is, Earth. The Earth is the atmosphere is toxic, so nobody can live outside of the silo.
And they don't know
premise.
what happened outside.
They have
and
no
they
idea.
basically don't let you talk about it and don't let you question it.
And they don't even know who built the silo.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what's going on. But there's all these, like, you won't believe this, but the government inside the silo is kind of sketchy and weird and
Not exactly transparent.
yeah. And if you say I want to go out, that's it. That's like your death sentence. Next thing you know, you get airlocked. You get sent outside into that place. I don't think that's a spoiler.
So you're saying it's not 10 episodes where everybody just sort of wonders what's going on and then nothing ever happens? Everything is not quite as it seems at the beginning of the season?
Well, the weird thing is they show you some really major plot development stuff, like right from the get-go. Like I think episode 2, they show you some things and you're like, oh, I guess that answers that question. And yet they still manage to fill the show with intrigue and make you wonder exactly what's happening and what's true and what's not, and who the good guys and who the bad guys are. I mean, it's like any great show in that way. But
there's lots of plotting, lots of backroom deals,
plotting.
and you never know who's on whose side.
Conspiracy.
Lots of people end up not making it to the next episode. But yeah, I like it. I like the actress who plays the lead person. Can't remember her name right off the top of my head. I wasn't familiar with their work, but I think she does a good job. Kind of got a Sigourney Weaver vibe. She's a tough, she works at the lower levels, right? The mechanical level. She works and she's like not afraid to go into the steaming hot belly of this giant generator.
She's the
right?
only one that could ever do it, Lewis. Like it seems like no one even ever knows what's going on except for her. Like she's the one that can fix it. So they send her in all the time, and it's like, move out of the way, idiot. I'm gonna fix it with this one wrench. Like the whole thing's about to fall over sideways. And like, what do we do? And she's like, let me just turn the wrench a couple times on this one bolt, and it fixes like the entire silo. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've read all the recaps right of the first season because I edit those before they just go out. And a recapper, he says like this show is best when it's acting kind of like a police procedural, like the because there's is it a spoiler to say that she's, I don't know, I have such a hard time with what's a spoiler and what's not.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, don't say it. If you think it's gonna be a spoiler, don't say it.
They're always looking for clues about what the reality is and what caused the silo to happen and what it is and who they could trust basically. So anyway, I do like that lead actress. There's like stars like Tim Robbins is in it. The one woman who plays the mayor, I was watching it with the wife and we were like, they really wanted Meryl Streep for that part.
Yeah, she's like Meryl Streep Jr., isn't she? Meryl Streep understudy. I agree.
Yeah, it was like uncanny. I said that. She's like, I was thinking exact same thing. Completely obvious observation.
They couldn't afford Meryl Streep.
Let's see. What else is good about
there's nothing
that?
else. We got to go. It's 2:30. So all I'm going to say
Start
is,
watching now. Season finales this week.
Yeah, I will echo everything that Lewis said and said. I love sci-fi, and this is one of the best sci-fi shows I've seen in a long time. It's gripping, and there are things that will make you question whether or not you actually know what's going on because you're not quite sure. And the first episode is free on Apple TV Plus. Looks beautiful, of course. Like Apple's cinema quality is like unparalleled. Like it just looks better than what anyone else is doing. I don't know what they're doing over there, why other people have not been able to copy what they're doing, but it looks absolutely beautiful. And of course, it sounds. They use all the best codecs and everything. If you have HomePods, they take advantage of all that stuff. So. But I got to go. Like I said, I got to be walking these sweet buns out the door right now. So we need to go ahead and wrap it up there, my friends. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The fun, it never stops. If you want to come hang out, tell us what your favorite shows are. We would love to hear. Maybe we'll watch those shows, talk about them on the show. How meta is that? I'm at Airfon on Twitter. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Griffin, he's not on Twitter. You can send him a letter in the mail. I'll post his P.O. box in the show notes. You can just write something to him. He'll find that. To be moving. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up that's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. And we'll see you guys. I took the mic with me that time. Next time. That's a new move. See?
Whoa. Advanced mic.
Old dogs can learn new tricks. Proved it live here on the air. Look at this. I'm already 2 minutes over. Bye.
Poor time management.
Well, I didn't want to cut you off. Your review was it was like Siskel and Ebert level grip. You know, I just had me.
Vertical snow piercer.
There you go. That's actually pretty funny.